to another episode of EveryRing, that's everything wrestling. Going back to what if scenarios. Today we'll look at what if 3 icons didn't leave this world early. What if Eddie Guerrero, Bray Wyatt and Chris Benoit hadn't died? We'll reflect how certain situations may have occurred. We will neglect proposed scenarios where, in the case of Chris Benoit, his brain was so advanced in dementia where he only had about 8 months to live, so this will be avoided. It's noted all had success in the WWE, but in these what-ifs, we'll make the next step of assumptions. WWE. Eddie Guerrero hadn't died in 2005, he would likely have continued wrestling, eventually retiring around 2007-2008, according to a Reddit thread. He might have had a part-time schedule after that, making sporadic appearances until his official retirement around 2012 and Hall of Fame induction in 2013. He would likely have been inducted into the Hall of Fame by Chris Benoit. Here's a more detailed look at potential scenarios. Continued wrestling. Eddie likely would have continued wrestling, perhaps even having a WrestleMania 22 match with Shawn Michaels, winning the title, and then having matches with Rey Mysterio and John Cena. He might have also had a title reign against JBL. Part-time schedule and Hall of Fame. After his full-time retirement, he could have had a part-time schedule, making appearances and perhaps even wrestling on pay-per-views. His Hall of Fame induction in 2013 would have been a natural progression. Impact on other superstars. Some speculate that Eddie's continued presence could have impacted the careers of other superstars, such as Rey Mysterio, who benefited significantly from Eddie's passing. Some also believe that Chris Benoit's descent into madness and tragedy might have been prevented if Eddie hadn't passed away. Potential for coaching and family. Eddie could have become a coach at the WWE Performance Center, mentoring future wrestlers, including his own children and Chris Benoit's children. Possible heel turn. Some fans have speculated about Eddie potentially teaming up with Dominic Mysterio and even turning on Rey Mysterio in a heel turn. The last aspect would be the biggest impact, playing the story dealing with Rey and Dominic. Can you imagine to have the reveal, where Eddie was the father of Dominic? This could pave the way of so many interesting concepts. AEW. Chris Benoit had not died, his family would be alive, and he would likely have continued his wrestling career, potentially retiring a few years later and possibly opening a wrestling academy. His son David might have become a wrestler mentored by him. He would have likely been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, and his impact on wrestling would have been significantly different. Here's a more detailed look at what might have happened. Family. His wife Nancy and son Daniel would still be alive, and Benoit would have had the chance to raise his son as he grew up. Wrestling career. He would likely have continued wrestling, potentially having more world champion reigns and becoming a larger part of the WWE landscape. He might have retired and opened a wrestling academy. Hall of Fame. Bleacher Report suggests he would almost certainly have been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Impact on the business. His legacy in wrestling would have been different, as the tragedy significantly altered how the industry approached concussions and mental health. Aside from that, if WWE wasn't accommodating, AEW would be the perfect solution. AEW prides themselves on wrestling, and Chris Benoit would have been the perfect foil to carry AEW. Instead of Jericho, can you imagine Chris Benoit as the inaugural world champion? Can you imagine Chris Benoit vs Kenny Omega? The possibilities would be endless, and with AEW's association with NJPW, this could have made so many more storylines possible. Chris Benoit's work style and AEW acceptance would have fueled a lot of interesting storylines. TNA. Bray Wyatt had not died in 2023, he would likely be actively involved in professional wrestling, continuing to develop his character and potentially taking on new roles or feuds within WWE or another promotion. Many fans believe he could have become a legendary figure, similar to The Undertaker. Here's a more detailed look at the potential scenarios. Continued WWE run. Wyatt could have continued to evolve his character, potentially returning to his original, cult leader, persona or exploring other facets of his character. He might have been a major player in major title feuds, possibly even a world champion again. Alternative wrestling career. If his WWE contract had ended or he desired a change, he could have explored opportunities with other promotions like All Elite Wrestling, AEW, or other wrestling companies. Legacy and impact. Even without his death, Wyatt's unique character work would have continued to resonate with fans, and he could have become a prominent figure in wrestling history. Potential for new roles. The loss of a star like Wyatt has left a void in the wrestling world, and his absence has been felt significantly, according to Wrestling Inc. If he hadn't passed away, he would have likely been used by WWE in different ways, potentially in a mentoring role, or in a new role with Uncle Howdy. Ultimately, TNA would have been the perfect fit. With the success of Abyss and Rosemary, this could have added layers to the story. If WWE didn't embrace Bray Wyatt, TNA would have definitely been calling. The Monsters Ball with Bray could have fed millions. Well, that's another episode of EveryRing. That's everything wrestling. Like always, subscribe and be part of the show where you can find the most up-to-date going-ons in wrestling on Facebook. Continue watching. You're catching up on YouTube. Let's go to Arvid and the discussion.
We're going through a lot of stuff, so this is a very packed discussion. This Sunday, June 15, 2025, Triple Mania Regia 3 is an upcoming professional wrestling supercard event produced and scripted by the Mexican Lucha Libre promotion Lucha Libre AAA Worldwide, AAA. The event will be held on June 15, 2025 at Arena Monterrey in Monterrey, Nuevo León, Mexico, and will feature wrestlers from WWE, which announced its intent to acquire AAA in partnership with Philip on April 19, 2025. However, the deal will not have been completed at the time of the event. The deal is intended to close in the second half of 2025, according to all partners involved. It will be the 46th overall show held under the Triple Mania banner. Officially the last under AAA, it will also highlight wrestlers from WWE, Los Gazas, and TNA, X-Division Champion Moose and TNA Tag Champs Hollywood Heels, Namath Bros, so it should be exciting. As mentioned on an earlier episode, The Miz will host Amazon's reboot of American Gladiators, but along with him 5 wrestlers will be part of the show. Eric Bugenhagen, aka former WWE superstar Rick Boogs. Michael Wardlow, aka AEW star Wardlow. Jesse Godderz, aka former TNA star, OVW star Mr. Spectacular. Jessica Roden, aka The Ultimate Athlete, J. Rod. Kille Latimer, aka former NWA Women's Champion, AEW star Camille. The surprise is how J. Rod isn't continuing with the wrestling because she's awesome. More wrestling and TV show news. Dana White's Power Slap has invited several indie wrestlers and vets. Some of the wrestlers reportedly contacted include Casanova Valentine, Meche Wolf, Juicy Finau, Facade, Alice Crowley, Marty the Moth Martinez, Hollywood and Danny Moe, so wrestlers are spreading their mighty wings. Indie wrestler Shin Bodhi, who fans may remember for his brief WWE run as Kizani, has served as point man in recruiting wrestling talent, and several names who have worked for WWE, AEW, TNA, MLW, and NWA. WWE superstar Jade Cargill to make acting debut opposite Jonathan Majors in action thriller, True Threat. Set to make her acting debut starring opposite Jonathan Majors in True Threat, a Harlem-set action thriller from director Gerard McMurray. Wow, sports entertainment ha! AEW's Konosuke Takeshita will be taking part in the tournament for the second year in a row. Takeshita made his G1 debut in 2024, reaching the quarterfinal stage after finishing second his block, but was ultimately eliminated by Yota Tsuji, who ended up making it to the final but was defeated by the eventual winner, Zack Sabre Jr. New Japan Pro Wrestling's second biggest event of the year, Dominion, will be taking place on Sunday, June 15 at Osaka-jo Hall. WWE's Roxanne Perez is reportedly set to compete at Marigold's Summer Destiny 2025 event, facing Utami Hayashishita. This marks WWE's continued collaboration with Rossi's promotion. Truly, wrestling is becoming a worldly event. Now let's go to matches of the week, wrestlers of the week, and bringing back a classic because of the interest of fans and the fact WWE is pulling a lot of indie stars. So if you hear it here first, watch the past episodes, and the likes of Harley Hudson, Sexy Dynamite, Mariah May, Blake Monroe, and several others were mentioned here. EveryRing, that's everything wrestling is indie star of the week. Matches of the week. WWE. Let's just say Raw was amazing where this was hard. WWE World Champion Jey Uso vs Gunther was amazing, but one match took a small lead over it. Queen of the Ring Tournament. First round fatal 4-way match. WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Liv Morgan vs Roxanne Perez vs Kairi Sane vs Rhea Ripley. The top females from the best women's division, and continued animosity between Liv and Rhea along with tensions with Liv and Roxanne. Perfect boiling point. This match did not disappoint. Again, NXT was packed with awesome matches. North American Ethan Page vs Shawn Legacy was instant classic, but one match was just awe-inspiring. Oba Femi C vs Jasper Troy for the WWE NXT Championship. Oba Femi was attacked prior to the match, so for the first time he was vulnerable. This horse fight was just everything that makes wrestling fun to watch. SmackDown was action-packed where the two men's Money in the Banks were remarkable, but the first one was a step better. King of the Ring match, Randy Orton vs LA Knight vs Carmelo Hayes vs Aleister Black. This match on free TV should be a crime. Carmelo Hayes is just too talented to be overlooked, but this match was just action from bell to bell. AEW Dynamite Summer Blockbuster was everything great about wrestling. Will Ospreay vs Swerve. The outcome was a draw, but this can very well be on the shortlist of matches of the year candidate and again on free TV. The only negative is the match was early and the rest of the show was everything but a blockbuster. TNA 8-4-1 match to determine the number 1 contender for the Knockouts World Championship. 8 knockout tag team match pitting Indy Hartwell, Killer Kelly, Jody Threat and Tasha Steelz against Rosemary, Danny Luna, Tessa Blanchard and Shea Brookside. Which turned to Indy Hartwell vs Killer Kelly vs Jody Threat vs Tasha Steelz. The Knockouts were front and center where they stole the show. Wrestlers of the Week. WWE, new WWE World Champion Gunther. Calling his shot and taking the top spot, the ring general is ready to lead again. AEW, Tekla. The match was unfortunately part of the collision part, but Tekla again is proving why she's a top international superstar. TNA, Killer Kelly. Being part of an amazing 8-4-1 match and establishing herself as the top star, and making TNA feel special again. Yes, we are bringing back the Indie Star of the Week. Seeing the future today, and not to toot our own horn, we spotted a lot of stars people are talking about. Eric Surge, dual champion where he's the US champion for OVW and the New Era Wrestling. The 30-year-old is a blend of power and size, where the 6'4" star is 297 pounds and he uses his physical attributes as a weapon. So that's another episode of EveryRing. That's everything wrestling. Like always, check us out on YouTube and Facebook where you can like, subscribe and comment, and if you want to be part of the show, email us at everything@gmail.com. Like always, chalo kushti le den.
Wrestling is something special, as you can see our human element dealt with a lot of superstars. King Kong Bundy, a wrestler deserving WWE Hall of Fame. Sherry Martel was an amazing person who helped revolutionize the women's division. The Crusher, who Milwaukee famous, was a classic star. Puppet the Midget was a bigger-than-life superstar who is both engaging and ahead of his time. Wrestling is life and we want to push it forward.
Thanks for tuning in to Channel 14, Kenosha Community Television. Remember to tune into my program, Just Talkin', shown right here, Tuesday and Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. until 9 p.m. on Channel 14. On the program, we cover community events, talk to nonprofit organizations, and who knows, we may bump into a celebrity now and then. So remember to tune in to Just Talkin' Tuesday and Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. right here on Channel 14.
You are watching Kenosha Community Media. We provide you with education, media, and entertainment, while you provide us with the means to teach, entertain, and communicate. Thank you for allowing us to grow. See what's next for Kenosha Community Media.
Hey kids! Do you guys like cartoons?
I love cartoons!
Do you like to see the old classic cartoons that your families were raised with?
I would love to, but where can I watch those at?
Well, we're bringing back classical cartoons with Mr. Bunker's Cartoon Apocalypse, where we resurrect old cartoons.
Oh, when is it on?
On Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. on Sunday mornings at 10:30, where you get to see classic cartoons like Betty Boop.
I love Betty Boop.
Popeye.
Big Popeye fan.
We have great Huckle and Jekyll.
Oh, I love those.
So Kenosha Community Media is bringing back the classical cartoons with Mr. Bunker's Cartoon Apocalypse.
Question, does Mr. Bonkers have any friends on that show?
He has a lot of friends. We're hosting with Chalk and Manimal, but he has great friends like Chef Luigi.
Look over the start, the kids.
He has Peanut the Peacock.
Hello, kids.
He has Cinnamon the Ape.
What's going on, brothers?
And his friend that also hosts a different show, it's Klutz the Clown.
Hey, kids, it's tough being a clown.
So if you enjoy cartoons, if you want to watch something that's whimsical and nostalgic, please tune into Mr. Bonker's Cartoon Apocalypse, Saturdays and Sundays, Saturdays at 10, Sundays at 10:30. And we would enjoy to join us because you could be our circus freaks. Bye, kids.
Goodbye, kids.
Hey, Bambinos. Do you like movies?
I sure do. I like other movies.
Yeah, we have a new show called What the Heck Are We Watching?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, it's a show that we review movies for coming weeks.
No, what are we watching? You said what the heck are we watching? You tell me.
We're watching the movies.
Oh, that's all right. We're watching the movies. Hey, you knew we were doing this promo. How come you didn't put your shoes on? That's a little unprofessional, no?
Because we like to be freelancing. And we, every Friday at 5 and Saturdays at 10:30, you can listen to our reviews.
We have a great reviews. We're better than those other jabronis that used to do the reviews, huh?
Yeah, if you like Cisco and Ebert, you'll love us better. What the heck are we doing? Oh, watching.
I don't know what we're doing half the time either, but what the heck are we watching?
What the heck are we watching? We go over movies, we give them thumbs up, thumbs down, if we like them, and basically, we tell you if you want to go see a movie or not.
That's alright, and the most important message you get from the show is, visit your grandparents,
Yeah.
It takes 10 to 15 minutes, just go see them, give them some kisses, some of the hugs, and go to visit, huh?
So, on Fridays at 5.
And Saturday morning to 10:30, go.
What the heck are you doing? Watching?
What are you doing right now? It's what the heck are we watching? Sorry, my wife is suffering some dementia, but it's a what the heck are we watching?
What the heck are we watching? Bye, Bambinos!
Now, my question I have to ask now, where the heck are we parking, right?
At service!
All right.
Just turned heel. Hosted by Danger Dan and Diablo Angelico, as seen on EveryRing That's Everything Wrestling. Behind the curtain look at professional wrestling. A gritty shoot style of interviews where we look at various aspects of wrestling. Ever wanted to know what an indie star needs to do to get their foot in the door? Ever wanted to know what a booker does? Ever wanted to know the purpose of a referee is? Just Turned Heel will plunge into the world of wrestling and look at every facet. Just Turned Heel, YouTube exclusive, starting January 28, 2024.
Beware, take care. The little green dragon sits on your doorstep. He eats little boys, puppy dog tails, and big, fat snails. Beware! Pull the string! Pull the string! Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater can be viewed on Saturdays at 9 o'clock, Tuesdays at 3 o'clock, and Fridays at midnight. Alright, ghoulies, you tune in. You won't be let down.
You haven't seen horror till you've seen horror of the crying skull. See teenagers getting killed. See horror coming at you every scene in a skull. See the skull coming at you. The skull, and hear her cry. I hope you enjoy the horror of the crying skull.